Donald Trump blasts the fake news media for ignoring Russia's uranium deal with Clinton. Meanwhile, the New York Times alleges fake news ads are popping up even on fact-checking websites. And the Democrats and John McCain, but I repeat myself, are pushing legislation to require more transparency on Facebook ads. We'll discuss where the fake news really lies. Then our cultural correspondent Andy Millennial joins to discuss what the youth are keen on and hep to these days, as well as the crisis in the arts. Finally, all of your problems will be solved in the mailbag. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. There is so much fake news to get to today, but before we get to any of that, I have some real news. This will be shocking to everybody. We have another sponsor. Marshall, we have another sponsor. Someone's going to keep the lights on and keep the covfefe in my mug. This is Ring. This product is really great. A bunch of my friends out here use this already, so I've seen it in action. The mission of Ring is to make neighborhoods safer. You might have seen it. It's a video doorbell. So it's a doorbell, and then you, on your cell phone, can see who's at the door from anywhere. So you can be inside your house, you can be at work, you can be walking the dog, you can be wherever. You can see who's at your door. They now have a new product because Ring knows that home security begins at the front door, but it doesn't end there. So they have this new product. It's the Ring Floodlight Cam. It's a regular floodlight that you'd have outside of your house. It's motion activated, so the light will zap whichever bad guy is trespassing on your property. But then it will be recording video. That video will be uploaded to the cloud. You can check it immediately. Even if they come and they steal your Ring, you will have the video and you can go track them down. You can see and speak to visitors. You can set off an alarm right from your phone. So if there's a shady looking character who's at the door or who's in your floodlight cam, you can see it from work or the grocery store, click that alarm, blast it out, scare the guy away. Whether you're home or away, the Ring floodlight lets you keep an eye on your home from anywhere. It is the ultimate in home security. You know, we all remember those ads from the 90s and the 2000s, and there were all these crazy home security systems. This is the 21st century way to secure your home and your family and your property. It makes neighborhoods safer, even by statistics. They actually did, there was an LA Times article about this. They did a study, they gave a bunch of Ring doorbells and cameras out in a bad neighborhood of LA. It reduced home burglaries by 55% in the first 6 months. This is like the new version of Neighborhood Watch. Go over there, be sure to check it out. You'll save up to $150 off of a Ring security kit when you go to ring.com/Knowles. That's Knowles, just like Beyonce. Ring.com/Knowles. Check it out. Go over there right now. Give them some love. It is a tremendous product, and you'll help us keep the lights on, so go do it. Okay, now away from the real news, now we have to get to fake news. There's fake news everywhere. Trump tweeted this morning, the uranium deal to Russia, with Clinton help and Obama administration knowledge, is the biggest story that fake media doesn't want to follow. Now, this comes on the heels of this week, evidence emerged that the FBI knew as early as 2009 that Russian operatives were using bribes and dirty tactics to shore up their atomic energy footprint in the United States. The Obama administration approved the uranium deal benefiting Moscow anyway. Hillary Clinton has been implicated in this. All the while, let's not forget that Mueller, the special counsel who's investigating Donald Trump, he was FBI director at the time. This doesn't look good for Democrats, for the FBI investigation, or for the Russia investigation rather, and it only looks good for fake news. Democrats are gearing up to battle the allegedly pro-Trump fake news. The New York Times alleges that fake news has been hitting websites like Snopes and PolitiFact, the alleged fact-checking websites. Democrats are sponsoring legislation to require Facebook ads to disclose who is paying for them. All of this misses the point. Fake news is fake news. The term emerged when a left-wing college professor, but I repeat myself again, circulated a Google document that listed lots of right-wing websites, including the Daily Wire, in the days after the 2016 election. Democrats accused all right-wing websites of propagating fake news, the same ridiculous smear that they used to tie to the formerly only right-of-center news outlet Fox News. Conservatives then, pouncing on the absurdity of this claim, pointed out the countless unsubstantiated and outright false smears against Donald Trump and Republicans that mainstream outlets like the TV networks, CNN, the New York Times, Washington Post breathlessly reported. CNN's now retracted Russia collusion story, which even forced them to fire a team of reporters, comes to mind. Another example among countless examples, the New York Times ran a bombshell fake news report headlined, quote, "Trump campaign aides had repeated contacts with Russian intelligence." Even James Comey, under oath, was forced to admit that this was not true. Now, Donald Trump then masterfully positioned himself to appropriate the term. It stuck to the New York Times and it stuck to CNN in a way that it didn't stick to us because the charge rings so true. The alleged epidemic of fake news that John McCain and other Democrats want new laws to address is itself fake news. Another term for fake news is propaganda. That's the old term. Propaganda is nothing new. It's been around forever. It will remain a communications tool as long as people speak to one another. President Trump has narrowed in on the real issue, the fake news media. The issue isn't random websites promoting partisan press releases. It's the enormous institutional behemoths, like the mainstream media, which purport to present objective facts without partisan slant, often on public airways, but in reality are simply shills for Democrats and they attack Republicans. They're the fake news media because they aren't news media. They're attack dogs for Democrats. It's a subtle distinction, but an important one. Fake news is fake news, but the fake news media are real, adversarial, and conservatives ought to fight them tooth and nail. Don't give them an inch. Okay, that's enough of the news. That's all the news I want to talk about. A little bit of fake news, a lot of real news. Now we have to bring on our one and only cultural correspondent, Andy Millennial. Andy, thanks for being here.
What's up?
So, Andy, you're a millennial, you're in Hollywood. All you kids, all you're tweeting about these days are the Me Too campaign, the Harvey Weinstein sex scandal. You've been out here. What have you noticed?
Well, you know, as a millennial who identifies as a young woman, I came out here with my eyes full of stars and, you know, these innocent hopes and dreams. And, you know, I immediately ran into incredible sexual, you know, harassment. I was living with a couple of other young girls, and you know, I suggested that we all start taking showers together. So we,
I'm sorry, Tim. I thought
we almost broke our record there.
Really, I know. You kept it longer than I did.
I was going to say to protect us from Harvey Weinstein, but they wouldn't listen to me. You know?
That image was one that I just couldn't take anymore. Really, well, Andy, great to have you back.
It's great to be here.
You know, for those who haven't been following, which you certainly should, Andrew Klavan and I have a new podcast out together. It's a narrative fiction podcast called Another Kingdom. It's what Drew wrote, so he did all the work, and I read it then. And I will say publicly for the first time, Andrew Klavan cast me in Another Kingdom, and the casting process was, it was a lot like what you're reading in the papers, folks.
It's true.
It was, yeah.
I am known as the Harvey Weinstein of the podcast.
That's true.
People do call me that.
Of the narrative podcast.
I thought it was all the Oscars, but no, it's just because I chase people around the room all the time.
The podcast has been a lot of fun, and people are responding to it,
people
shockingly.
Really like it. I mean, I think it's now, it's all 5-star reviews. And I'm not doing it. Are you doing it?
No,
No,
I tried to. They won't let me.
Is
They
that
know
right?
all my tricks. No, it is. It's all 5-star reviews.
All
It's got a bunch of, if you have listened, by the way, even if you haven't, I don't really care. Go over there and leave a 5-star review. It helps us out. And definitely check out the show.
Subscribe on iTunes.
And
that really
be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. What I really like about this podcast is that we couldn't have had anyone make it for us. No one would have accepted this. They wouldn't have made a movie. They wouldn't have published a book.
There's no chance of it. I mean, I've almost stopped pitching in Hollywood because I just know it's going to get to a certain level and die. And you know, I mean, this is not a political story. This is just a fantasy. It's about a failed Hollywood screenwriter. One day he walks through a door and he finds himself in a bizarre fantasy land, and he's a murder suspect in this bizarre fantasy land. We should say that the second episode drops tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, because they're coming out once a week. So we launched it on Friday, October 13th, and they'll be coming out every Friday. So we have the second episode coming out tomorrow. People might be confused just on this one bit. I will never work in Hollywood again, and I barely worked before. But you're a real Hollywood guy. You've had these big movies.
I had a very good run of screen. And by the way, I was all I ever wanted to do was write stories like this, was write novels and fictional stories. And I was dragged into Hollywood, and I was selling scripts at a very quick pace. You know, they like, as most screenwriters will tell you, they weren't getting made, but I was getting paid for them. And a couple got made. And you know, then I started to speak out about politics, and my phone stopped ringing like that. And now it's funny, I do get calls because they know I can do certain things really well, but I'm just always suspicious that I'm never going to get past a certain point once they Google me.
The Google, that's the point you're not going to get past.
Exactly.
So, because it's not a partisan story, it's not about Republicans, but it's a story that just does not care about political correctness, it doesn't care about a lot of the tropes that you find in mainstream Hollywood and entertainment.
If you're describing the world, right, you want to me, this has always been true. There's no sense in sitting down at a computer to write something if you're not going to try and tell the truth. So if you're just simply describing the world, you very quickly become politically incorrect.
Right.
Because girls are girls and men are men, and we want certain things and we desire certain, you know, and you just can't describe that world and stay politically correct if you're going to be honest. And so I would say that they might have gotten past the first chapter on this, maybe, but after that, we're done.
The one bit, there is a transgender killer.
Oh yeah, the transgender killer.
That would have knocked it right. I mean, you would have been
right.
stormed out of the room.
No question. And the thing is about becoming a man to some degree. I mean, it is a journey, and it's a guy's journey. And I think that all that stuff is just, you just can't write about it anymore, honestly, and get into mainstream show business, which, to be honest with you, I don't care. I just want to do what I do. You know?
That is the really liberating thing. Is every time I really wanted to be in this movie or to get this TV part or something, my whole life staked on it, I was miserable, and it was hard to do. And now I've got a ton of opportunities. I get to make whatever I want, and there is a little bit in this growing up narrative. Hollywood is fantasy land. It's where like the craziest people in the world who don't want to grow up move and work here, and you see that evolution with Austin Lively, with the main character, even as he's fighting off ogres and knights.
Right, because people do come here with this idea. They start out with this idea they want to make art, or they want to act, they want to do all these things, and you wind up like in toilet paper commercials, and you think, well, at least I'm working, and all this stuff. But that's not really what you set out to do, and the town does churn you into that. I always tease my actor friends that they start out studying Hamlet, and they end up, if they're successful, if they really make it, they end up shouting, "Let the girl go" for the rest of their lives.
If you're lucky. I mean, truly the top 1% of a 1%. And there's that old showbiz line about the guy who's shoveling out the elephant cage, and he's mopping it up. And his buddy comes up to him and says, "Don't you want to get another job?" And he says, "What, leave show business?" Why would
I know. I mean, I teased my pal Nick Searcy, the guy who was in Justified and all that stuff. And I made that joke to him, and he said that literally, like, his first line in movies was something like, "Get out of the car." That's like, that's what you end up saying the rest of your life.
Nick's real art form is Twitter, by the way. If you're not following Nick Searcy on Twitter,
he's the king of Twitter. Right?
So Hollywood's fallen apart. We get to do whatever we want, and maybe Hollywood will do something with it, maybe they don't, maybe it's just a podcast and people like it. You're the prophet of this conservative cultural
Bizarrely, I am the prophet.
It's really weird.
There's no question.
You published Crisis in the Arts a few years ago. You predicted a lot of what was happening, or rather you called for what's happening. And then, like, I don't know, like Forrest Gump or something, you end up being in all the places that's happening.
It is bizarre. I mean, I said this to my wife like a couple of years ago. I said, I keep going and making speeches going, we have to do this, this, and this. And then I noticed that I'm doing it, And it really is weird because, like I said, I only wanted to do one thing. I have this very focused, I have the opposite of attention deficit disorder. Once I'm focused on something, I'm totally, and I only wanted to write books. I only wanted to write novels. And then I found myself doing podcasts. I mean, I helped invent an app that told a ghost story.
Haunting Melissa.
Haunting Melissa. He's won the Appie Award. Yes, and it was a bestseller for a couple of weeks there. And like I didn't invent the technical part of it. I just wrote the script for my friend Neil Edelstein. But I mean, it was weird to be, Neil pitched it to me, and I just thought, I got to do that. No one's ever done that before, And then this stuff I started doing at PJTV, and now I do it here, these kind of small but comical political commentaries. And when I started out, nobody was doing that.
It was the first of the genre.
I know.
And now it's everywhere. My whole panel of deplorables are people who are doing that now.
They do
who
that
follow
thing. There
your
are a
footsteps.
new generation of people doing it. And I think, look, the thing about it is I became a conservative. I was a liberal, grew up a liberal, and I became a conservative when I noticed that everything Ronald Reagan said was going to happen happened, and everything they said about him turned out to be untrue. Now, you laugh about that now, but think about it for a minute. If suddenly you realized, I don't know, some bizarre thing like there was no Washington, D.C., it was a complete construct of the media, you'd go like, wait, everything is a lie. That was the experience. The experience was, when I saw the Berlin Wall collapse, I thought, like, you got to be kidding me.
Right.
Like, what? No.
2 years after Reagan leaves office, 3 years.
After Reagan said it would happen, and everybody said, this idiot, this fool, this cowboy, this actor, and you go like, oh, I get it now. He was right, they were wrong. And I think that I started to realize that there was an entire, I called it the empire of lies, of this culture that was pushing stuff on us that wasn't good for people, wasn't true. It wasn't true that black people were being helped by it. It wasn't true that women were being helped by it. It was all untrue. And so I started to think, well, why aren't the other people talking about this?
Right.
And I rapidly found out it was because conservatives as a group have neglected the culture. They don't care about the culture. They think the culture is Shakespeare and the opera, and they don't think it's Stranger Things. They don't think it's Netflix and all that stuff.
Fidget spinners,
and fidget spinners,
yeah.
and of course that's what it is. Which is why you and I kind of get Trump in a way, because when he goes out against the NFL, that's where the culture is.
That's when the reality TV star, major reality TV star,
exactly,
absolutely, that is the culture. So where's it headed?
Well, I think what I say it like this. When we had the Revolutionary War, the British came over the hill in ranks. Biggest empire on earth, most powerful soldiers, best trained soldiers. They had the guns, they had this thing. And our guys were popping up from behind rocks with like flintlock pistols and popping them off, That's where we are right now. We're doing YouTube, we're doing podcasts, we're doing, I can write my next novel if I want and just publish it right online.
You make more money. You'll make more money if you self-publish.
That's right, as you would know from your major publication. And like I feel that they are an empire of lies, and we are this little band of guerrillas popping up from behind the rocks and from behind the trees and picking them off. And I think we're going to win. I mean, I think it's going to be like, it's going to be tough. We're going to have our Valley Forge. We're going to have some tough times. They're going to come after us. They always come after us. They have come after us. I mean, they came after me. They've done whatever they can do to me, But I think it's great. I think we're going to beat them. And I think we are already beating them. And I think that Donald Trump is a sign that we're beating them. For all, I have problems with him, for all the things he does that I don't like. He is a sign that we can be heard, even as they're trying to drown us out.
That we can, this one strong, steady orange man can stand up against the British Army coming up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I share your hope entirely, and it's great. I'm not sick and tired of winning. I am not sick and tired of winning.
There's not too much winning.
Bring on more cafefe.
No question. Bring the cafefe all the way.
Andy Millennial, thanks for being here. Great. Go spread the message to the kids, and we look forward to hearing more on that teeny bopper culture next time.
And Another Kingdom tomorrow, episode 2.
Make sure you tune in. Another Kingdom. It's on iTunes. It's everywhere. Just search Andrew Klavan's Another Kingdom. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to leave a review and a 5-star review, and let us know what you think about it too. Because we are just little gorillas who are posting this up. So please send in your thoughts. All right, Andy, thanks for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Now, I really want to enlighten all of you. I want to change your lives. I can answer every one of your questions in the mailbag, but I've got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. To all of our current subscribers, thank you very much. You help keep the lights on, Covfefe in my mug. But if you haven't subscribed, go over to thedailywire.com. It's $10 a month or $100 for an annual membership. You get me, you get the Andrew Klavan Show, you get the Ben Shapiro Show. Yeah, I know. What else, Michael? What else? Here it is, the Leftist Tears Tumbler. It is the finest vessel for leftist tears in the entire country. We have several vintages, obviously, that it can hold. It's, wine glasses. You need this for the strong red. You need this for the white wine. You need this. This it holds them all. New York Times tears, Hillary Clinton tears, Barack Obama tears. Be sure to go to thedailywire.com right now. You'll be able to put them in there, hot or cold, always salty and delicious. We'll be right back.